Hi everybody, it's Randy Wakeman. We've had cold weather, we've had snow, we've had warm weather, and we've had a lot of wind and rain. So it's a little breezy today, but not too bad, and I've been anxious to go over the new Weatherby Sorix. And this is it. It's the Weatherby Sorix. There's a lot to talk about with this gun. A whole heck of a lot. So for starters, this is the Bruno Civillani action that dates back to the 1960s, popularized first by Benelli and then by Beretta/Benelli after Benelli went under. Back in the day, Beretta was apparently part owner, had an ownership interest of the new Benelli arms, which was an offshoot of Benelli motorcycles from the Benelli brothers. Alright, well, that company eventually failed, absorbed by Beretta. But Beretta apparently had an ownership stake. Okay, this gun is made in Italy. It's CIP proof tested. Actually, I get a kick out of a new gun like this because part of the CIP proof testing is going over the barrel and the action with fluorescent penetrant dye. And I did that with this, and you could still see some of the remnants of the penetrant dye just by shining a UV light on it. So it's a level of testing looking for invisible cracks that can't be seen with the naked eye under UV light. So that's one of the things that makes CIP tested shotguns superior, according to most people, compared to Turkish shotguns and any non-CIP tested shotguns. So pretty cool. Who's the gun made by? This gun is made by Marucci. Now Marucci's been around since the 1920s. 100-year-old company, not the biggest, not the smallest, but they're an Italian gun maker. They've been around for a while. They're family run. They're still family run. Some years back, Marucci changed the name of their parent organization to CD Europe. So as far as the proof testing and the barrel markings, it says CD Europe. So it's got a CIP proof mark on it. CD Europe SRL, made in Italy. So Weatherby started their relationship with Marucci with their 18i, and that went well. So they decided a couple years ago to go over the gun front to back and try to make it a better short recoil or inertia gun. So, didn't happen overnight. They spent a couple years testing, hunting in nasty conditions with American ammo, and that's the problem with a lot of shotguns that come over here. They're not used in American waterfowl hunting conditions. They're not used with American ammo. And that's how you get the dreaded jam-o-matic syndrome. So, CIP tested. The receiver is drilled and tapped. One of the things that Weatherby did is they wanted a nicer finish on the receiver, so they decided to go ahead with some profiling and some extra tumbling on the receiver, and it shows because it's extremely smooth. This Cerakote, this is called tungsten Cerakote, I believe. The specific model is the Storm. There's 3 different camo designs for starters. Cerakote is applied by Marucci, and they do a very, very nice job. This also has a step rib, which I personally really like. This has this 28-inch barrel. A 28-inch barrel for a waterfowl gun, or really for a semi-auto, it's become a standard. If somebody puts out a new gun, there's going to be a 28-inch barrel. Now, myself personally, I prefer 24 for a semi-auto because of the extra receiver length, or 26 as a compromise. So, of course, I asked about a 24-inch barrel, which is what you would want, or what I would want anyway, for upland hunting, pheasant, etc., and certainly for turkey, because you're all set up for optics here, drilled and tapped. So 24-inch barrel, I think, is ideal. Normally, I would use a True Lock extended choke, Precision Hunter. That gives me an extra inch. So the 24-inch barrel is actually a 25-inch barrel, effectively. The chokes are the familiar Cryo Plus style. So they're readily available chokes, beautifully done. You get 5 choke tubes. Cylinder, improved cylinder, and modified are all steel rated. Improved, modified, and full are not. But you do get 5, not just 1, or I think Browning normally gives you 3. So you've got a pretty nice setup here. You also get shims for cast and drop. You can see there's a little rubber insert here, which seems to be comfy. The stocks are hand finished and shirred in Wyoming. And I like that because, of course, Weatherby's been around for, I think, 75 years plus. Family run. Adam Weatherby, grandson of Roy, runs the company, and they're doing real well out there in Sheridan. So these stocks are hand painted, sponge painted, and the final quality control and inspection is all done in Sheridan. So you get a level of quality that you're not going to get from any number of importers. The boxes come in, the boxes go out. Maybe they get a sticker or something, but they don't even open the box, they don't inspect, they don't even look. So, nice. I think this is a great looking gun, actually. All 3 camo designs are excellent. So what do they do to try to make this a better gun? Well, for starters, this safety is excellent. Hope you can see that on camera. We've got some still pictures, but finally we don't have a little dinky pencil head safety. So you've got gloves on. It's just the right size safety, and it's about time. And it's also the way God intended the safety to be, a crossbolt safety at the rear of the trigger guard. So I'm delighted with the safety. The trigger is right at 5 pounds and very smooth. Take the safety off. So yeah, there's no grit, there's no sand. So far better than the typical 6 to 7 pound triggers that you get in mass-produced shotguns. So I like that. The gun itself weighs just under 7 pounds. 6 pounds, 15.6 ounces is what I weighed. It's just under 7. And of course, if you went down with a 24-inch barrel, we'd shave maybe 3 ounces off of that, something like that. So as she sits, I would call it a slightly forward balance, not much. If you're dove hunting or you're heading to the duck blind or the goose pit, you're ready to go as supplied. You wouldn't need to do anything. But this is just my personal preference. I like shorter barrels on semi-autos. Not everybody agrees, but I think it's a better handling gun if you go with a 26 or a 24-inch barrel. And Weatherby advises me that they're in the works. The initial guns are being shipped right now, like this one. But as far as extra barrels or a 24-inch barrel, which I would love, about 6 months away is their guesstimate, just a guess. Maybe a month earlier, maybe a month later. We all know how these things go. Chrome lined barrel. The bore is a little on the tight side. I measured it at .720 inches. The forcing cone, I believe, I'll put it up. I think it's a 55 millimeter forcing cone, I'm not sure. But I did get that spec from Weatherby for those that are interested in forcing cones. Chrome line bore. One thing that Weatherby took a lot of time is easy loading with a shell elevator that's not going to lacerate or pinch your thumb or your fingers. So everybody's heard about the Benelli thumb, which is either stiff loading, and some guns have razor sharp shell elevators that can cut you pretty good. I know. So for starters, let's see if we can load it easily. These are Fiocchi 1 ounce 1250 foot per second loads. So I'm supposed to be able to load this without pinching my thumb. If you can see that, there's no way that thumb is going to be pinched. Loads nice and easy. Glides right in. That is a big deal. So these are 1 ounce 1250 foot per second Fiocchi loads, the lightest 12 gauge loads I have here. So let's see if it cycles. Now this is right out of the box. I've not shot it before, so we're going to see. All I do with a gun like this is I put a drop or two of G96 gun oil on the rails and cycle it back and forth, and that's it. So there's no elaborate cleaning or prep. Just a drop of G96. So, does it cycle with 1 ounce 1250 foot per second loads? I don't know. Let's see. Obviously, no problem. That's fairly aggressive. So, that's all that can really be asked for a new gun out of the box. 1 ounce 1250. So, does it break clay pigeons? So as before, this is the Wheelie Bird 3.0. It's a little breezy out here, but let's see if it breaks anything. I have the Weatherby factory modified choke installed, which is the way it came. Alright, no problem. The second shot did hang up there a little bit. So whenever I do these reviews, it's whatever happens, happens, regardless of brand, regardless of manufacturer. So, let me fire a couple more. But these are light loads. That's good ejection. That's 6-7 foot ejection. So that was just one shell. And of course it is an absolutely brand new gun. So let me break a few more. I'll step it up with a little bit heavier load. There's no recoil we're talking about with 1 ounce 1250 foot per second loads. These are Remington American Clay and Field, ounce and an eighth, 1200 feet per second. So an extra 1/8 of an ounce of payload. And there's obviously no problem there with ejection. The wind's blowing, we've got about a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind, so the hulls are blowing back, but we're having, I would say better ejection, just from where the hulls are landing, about an extra foot with the 1 1/8 loads. Can there be more? Well, yes, there is. Of course, we've got the oversized charging handle right here, and the oversized bolt release. Already mentioned the oversized safety. Weatherby wanted a gun that could be as left-hand shooter friendly as possible, with no gunsmithing, without ordering parts, without ordering a kit, just the way it comes right out of the box. Now the way they did that, of course, this gun comes with shims for cast on, cast off, so you can easily set that up for a left-hand shooter. The safety is easily reversible. In fact, Weatherby has a little video on their website that shows you how easy it is. I'm not left-handed. However, the charging handle can be removed and placed on the left-hand side. So this slot here, some people will say, oh, that's a entry point for debris. No, Weatherby's spent a couple years testing this in some pretty nasty, sandy, silty, muddy conditions, and it's just no issue. Actually, as far as entry point, you're not going to get much from anything that's coming down, and there would be an actually bigger entry point just on the ejection side. So, we can move this handle. The handle comes out, nice and easy, and I haven't really thoroughly gone through the instruction book, so let's just not much to it, that's all there is. So now your left-hand shooter, it's got a left-hand charging handle. That easy. So why the left-hand charging handle? Well, again, Weatherby did some testing, and the most annoying thing to the left-hand shooter is watching the oscillating charging handle go back and forth towards their face. Not the ejection, which is off to the side and it's a one-way trip and it's only momentary. So I'm going to shoot it with the charging handle in front of my face to see if Weatherby has a point. And they do, because you have this charging handle hurtling back towards your face, which is, it's not a problem, but it is distracting. So, this is Weatherby's shift system, and it's a pretty great idea. One of the problems with left-handed guns is you have a poor selection, and they're generally overpriced. You pay an upcharge for a left-handed gun, which is understandable because they're sold in lower quantities, and resale value is normally not very good as well. Weatherby has addressed all of that, because just the way it sits, left hand or right hand, and yes, it is right hand eject, but it's as left hand friendly as possible with a right hand eject gun. Like I said, the changeover is easy. I didn't reverse the safety, of course, but they've got a good idea, and Weatherby is right about the charging handle being the most annoying thing, not the ejection of the hull, which I don't even notice. That just trails down and off to the side. So, good idea. It's a one-piece receiver, and there are two-piece receivers in inertia guns. I don't know why. Some people will say, oh, it's easier cleaning. You don't need much cleaning with an inertia gun anyway, and to take down this gun, it's exactly one pin. And while I'm at it, I should mention how easy the takedown is. You can pop off the forearm very easily if you want, with a little pressure, but as far as taking down the gun, I mean, there is just nothing to it. That's it. She's back together, and our little forearm cap, and we're good to go. So field stripping and cleaning, it's just momentary with this thing. So that's the basics. There's one thing I want to do. Many shotguns have point of impact issues. So I've got a target set up right there, and let me take a few shots at it with this modified choke and see where the point of impact is. Okay, this target is at 32.5 yards, and you can tell by the grass blowing over, the wind has picked up. It's 15 to 20 miles an hour, which is unfortunate. So I wouldn't be surprised if the pattern goes slightly to the left, but as far as vertical dispersion, it's still going to be valid. If it's shooting a mile high, I ought to be able to see it, or low. But so let's take 3 shots. I'm going to use the modified choke, factory Weatherby modified choke. And we'll give it 3 shots of Remington Clay and Field, 1 1/8 ounce, 7.5. So there it is, a lot of little pellet holes. So I would say that vertically it's pretty much shooting right on. You can feel free to count all those little pellets yourself. It might be a ½ inch, 1 inch high at 32.5 yards. But the wind drift, you can see from 20 miles an hour, well, that's the pattern to the left. That is to be expected. But there is no way that it's shooting 100% high. And of course that is an issue primarily, not with all Benellis, but with Super Black Eagle 3s and Ethos models, because that is driving people nuts. Anyway, that's a very rudimentary point of impact test, and of course you can hear the wind howling a little bit. Not much I can do about it. Yeah, the wind is howling. Anyway, I think Weatherby has done a beautiful job. I like the size of the trigger guard. I like the safety. The little rubber insert here. It's a nice touch. Not strictly necessary, but it's a nice touch. And I love that stepped rib. This personal preference, of course. I believe the 18i has a flat rib, but easy loading, excellent safety, excellent trigger. The recoil pad, you can just pull this thing off, so you don't even need any tools. You don't have to get out your Phillips number 2 and start twisting screws. I think you can just pull this puppy right off, I believe. Yeah. So, great looking gun. This is, when you're talking about a plastic stock, synthetic if you prefer, technopolymer if you prefer, but a synthetic stock and Cerakote and short recoil Civilani action, this is about as close to a zero maintenance shotgun as you're going to get. And I'll put up a thorough text review on chuckhawks.com, which will give you any details that I'm forgetting to mention right off the top of my head. For example, Weatherby has a 10-year warranty with the Sorix, which is pretty darn good. 10-year warranties from a well-known, reputable American company like Weatherby don't happen every day. Matter of fact, there are a lot of guns out there with no written warranties whatsoever. Anyway, But the 10-year warranty and the Weatherby brand, those are pluses. And as you can see, you're all set for a sling. Got a sling stud in the front, molded in sling stud on the sling stud or sling attachment on the buttstock, and I like it. Recoil with obviously with 1 ounce and 1.125 loads is just really not worth talking about. But when you've got your heavy hunting gear on your duck blind, ducks you're probably using 1.25 ounces of number 2s if you use steel. If you use tungsten, you don't even need that type of payload, because normally 1 ounce. 1 ounce is an incredible tungsten super shot load. So I'm impressed. I think Weatherby did their homework. They did a lot of testing, changing the spring rates, and really that's what separates a good inertia gun from a headache gun. Is you've got really 2 springs, one in the buttstock and one in the split bolt, and that's what operates the gun. So that can give you problems both on the low end and on the high end if the spring rates are not copacetic. And of course, it's one thing, like right now, it's in the 40s, but if you're down below 0, everything slows down. Your shells tend to be a little slower. That's just shot shells is a chemical reaction. So what works on a nice 80-degree day or 75-degree afternoon on the dove field might not be the same when you've got snow and water and ice and crud. So there's not much not to like. All 3 camo styles I think are extremely well done. So I'm waiting for a shorter barrel, but I like the way it feels. I like the slim forearm. And there's a 20 gauge already announced, but they're not out yet. So of course I'm curious, as a big 20 gauge fan, how the 20 gauge does as well. Of course, I would also want the 20 gauge with a shorter barrel as a matter of course, 24 or 26 inch. Even more so with the 20 gauge. But I think Weatherby's done a great job here. As far as I'm concerned, as far as semi-automatic shotguns, I think this is the best product that Weatherby's ever offered. In fact, I'm sure it is. So it'll take them a while to fill out the line, but there's just not much not to like. What I appreciate about guns is that the things that don't annoy me, like dinky safeties and stiff loading and pinching thumbs and things like that. And price-wise, actually, that'll be in my text review as well, chuckhawks.com. But you can check the prices on Gunbroker yourself. It's actually quite a bit less than other short recoil inertia guns like Browning A5 Wicked Wing and Super Black Eagle 3 Cerakote. Check it out for yourself. So the price is very, very good, I think. And it's made in Italy and CIP proof tested. So great job by Weatherby. And of course the shorter barrels, you can see they've got little covers here for the screws. It's drilled and tapped, but that's tailor-made for turkey hunting. No question. You can certainly kill a turkey with it right now. No problem. So that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to visit us at chuckhawks.com, which is Guns and Shooting Online. And if you have any questions or comments, good or bad, be nice. I'm an old guy, remember. But I am impressed with this gun. I think you will be too. So, we'll see you later.